Well, it probably is no surprise to anybody that there's a triangle forming on the 1 hour euro dollar on the line chart. Oops, I think I gotta edit something here. This my closing line is a 1 period moving average yellow, but it's a little bit fat. I guess I got a little carried away there. Okay, so go to the edits, and we'll just take this down to just like being a little bit slightly overweight. It's like slightly pregnant. Okay, it's going up. So I bought at the market here, and I'm just gonna wing it. It's going up. Okay. Now if you were babysitting the 5-minute chart, your entry window would have been these little baby candles here. You could put on a hedge here when it's quiet, and you would have made money to the downside. But the spread's pretty much your enemy when you're this close to the market. If you had a trailing buy stop on this 5-minute, just hand placed them, or you're trailing behind it with some type of robot, or you just keep on pressing a button that launches a script that says buy stop. That's if you want the confirmation entry. Now, people wait for confirmation on the 1 hour. I realize that that's a technique that people have adopted. But I think it's about feeling safe. Like some people would actually turn their ignition, roll it over, make sure there's gas in the car before they start. I guess if you're really super anal, you're going to do that. And you're also, because you don't want to run your engine without fuel coming in. They say that's bad for it. So that's what I've heard. So the answer to that is, well, you just play it safe and put your buy stop, say, let me get my trusty tool. Trusty drawing tool here. Please hold. Your call is very important to us. I'm going to go with a big white pencil. So I'm trying to make this as dramatic as possible. And it's about looking for very small, quiet markets. Anytime you see this confusion, zigzag here, you can either put a buy stop here, sell stop here. Now, the only problem with that is, where is your, if this is your buy stop, where is the stop for that? It could be right here at the same level of that. Where's the stop for this guy? It could be here. So if this is the stop connected to that, and this is this, you get like this, this is the butterfly. Now, let me delete this, start over. I guess I'm going to have to go to the extra extent here, put 2 colors up. It's not the most flexible. I don't know the hotkeys for this thing to navigate it, so I just start over with my entries would be the white color, and the exits will be the stops will be red, and the profits will be blue. Because red, people think, disaster, blood. So if we go for the white entry. So right here, you would have been trapped right now. Had you put a buy stop here, this is why putting buy stops and sell stops of big candles is pretty much like asking to get punched in the face. But not if you've got deep pockets. Now, if your protection's here, you have a master stop, say here, or you're buying here. So it's a revolving door, because if you bought here, you're going to get out here. If you are loading the wagon here during this whole phase, and this thing ends up coming all the way to here, and you've got stops here, and you're like, well, once they tip that out, are you willing to make these sell stops, and are you willing to make these buy limits? And that's all about how much money you've got to blow, literally blow. So you're blowing money, you are gambling. Anybody that says trading's not gambling, it's just some way to try to dress it up. I guess the people that wear bow ties might be trading. So let's not call this having fun, or I'm a serious trader. We only take serious traders. I mean, some of the best traders I've met are people that don't trade. I'm thinking, God, you're totally flexible. So you really want to get a girl to trade because, you know, she can have a baby and have this ridiculous chaos in her hands. Of course, even babies have this. After a while, they're done fighting, right? So after a while, the volatility's out of the market. Now what do you do with it, right? So Asian sessions are usually quiet. There's not a lot of people trading. It's the U.S. section here. I've got highlighted. The blue is what I did was if I have a 1 hour chart here, I have 8 bars per trading session. So I decided to make blue is USA. This would be the when the New Zealand dollar and all that stuff starts trading is this green, and then this lighter green is the European session, and here's USA. So there's a point in time when both USA, they're overlapping, and you could get all ridiculous. I could actually take this color and edit it so that it overlaps, but I try to keep it simple. So there's only 3 choices per day, or 3 windows of entry for limit trades or stop entry trades. Now, on this 8 hour, say you can check the market every 8 hours, you can anticipate the end of that session. So for instance, last night you got this sell-off here, and I'm just going to go with what's going on now. I'm not going to go back and any more than 1 day, you know, one day back. Come on, you can't be looking back. I guess you can, but I don't know what the point it is right now. You could be looking back here, but in the end, are you going to buy or sell here? Obviously, there is the perfect double top, breakout, find support. Everybody's thinking about it's going to retrace now. That also was the thought back on the other part of the chart. Let me just fix this. If you go back here, same thought was going on. Here's a breakout. Pull back to here. Another reason to get in on this internal thread. Breakout, pull back. Doesn't quite come in. Pretty close to your fill though. Now what's going on? We got to hold this trend line, otherwise it's just going to keep slumping down, going down. But it's not to say where the money's made. It has nothing to do with how to make money, because what if you had a buy limit, and this is always the same story all over again. Round number closes here. This is a 1 hour wick. This is the wick of a 1 hour severely bearish candle, even the end of this European session, and then lo and behold it goes up, and this is 20 pips from here to here. It goes up almost 40 pips here. Where does it stall out at here? So this structure thing is based on, and I mean, if I see another video where these people think that this is a structure high, okay, this is where people have their stops, but I'm sorry, this is the any kind of structure. No, it's just a big void. See, it's not connected to anything. The doji would be, if anything, and the this would be it, right? This is the floor that was taken out. It's not this 8 hour. It's not the range. The range is a volatility indication. So here's a pullback. So now I'm going to get long here on buy limits, so I don't have a choice for selling it, because I'm already I've already built a buy limit system here, so I can sell. If I would have sold, I missed it. Of course, this time of day, I don't know what's going to happen now. The market's about to close. We're getting near the end of the week. So the blue session here, you've only got, I guess they're going to trade the whole next 8 hours here. Who knows, right? But anything can happen here. And look at this. Like this blue doesn't mean it's going up. It's just the session of USA. But look at the complete. It covered the whole range of the previous 8 hours. Market went nowhere. So who made money on that trade? Did the guy who sold with a limit up here, double top, bottom becomes a double top, whoosh, back and forth though, whoosh, whoosh, right? During this session here, the idea that you couldn't have made money from both directions is 20 pips, right? Up and down. It's 40 pips. Now, even if you only made 10 pips of that move, say you have a buy limit sitting here. If you put too tight a stop on that, like here, put my stop here, got it. Oh, they stopped me. Oh, did you now? Well, this is 20 pips from here to here. You need to start putting buy limits from here all the way down. All the way down. If you're, and if this is 2% of your account or whatever, 1% of your account, that's just how it is. Now, same thing here. Top, within the bottom, buy limits. Yeah, we have 4 hours for that fill. How's that trade? Back to here. That's where all the money's at. People are having a hard time with this. All this garbage. Sell limits here. Fill. Boom. Refill. Boom. Refill. Look how close this window is. Look at this trap. The 8-hour breakout trap. This is confirmation people here. I mean, people that want confirmation. They're going to put their buy stop here. There's people right now, buy stop stacking up here. Those kind of people. Those when they want to make sure there's gas in the car before they leave the house. I would start the car, get down the road at least a little bit. Here, complete trap. So last night, I think it was painfully obvious last night that this was going to be anything below this U.S. session here. They couldn't wait to come underneath that. So you got one monster buy off that and dump, another monster buy and dump, another buy and dump if you dumped here. Or from the seller's side, and this would be the trend view, but it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter which direction you trade this thing. What it matters is if you jump on board when the market's quiet, or you jump on board when the market's screaming. So here, I'm going to try to buy the retest of this line. But I'm not going to buy it now. I'm going to wait till they come in and poke it down there. So the wick. So here's all my trades for the next... this is a 15-minute script on top. And this is the half hour, so it looks like this. Here's a 15. Here's a 30-minute. There's a 1 hour. So this is, and if it, in the next hour, here's the big sell-off window. So you go to the 5-minute because you're 5 minutes before the top of the hour. We're looking for entry here. So here I'd put a buy step in, right? And if you don't get filled on this, now the confirmation buy stop entry in a 5-minute chart isn't quite the same as it is on even a 15, because you've got, if you consider this a signal, or what do you want to call it, a reasons place in order, buy stop. Not a buy stop here because that's the top. And this is the smaller these candles get, like here. No buy stop here, but buy stop on the here. Buy stop, sell stop on the baby candles. Buy stop, sell stop. That's your money. You also have a top becoming a bottom here, so a limit entry. But you got all the way to this blues done. About 6 hours left here. All right, so that you're about. If you make this the half-hour chart in the rearview mirror, this is the 15. But look at this top become a bottom of the 15. What more do you need to know? This is good. This is easy money. Small, quiet. That's a setup. That's where the money's at. Now you could say, you could have your other view of this is the target, because you're looking for the highest close between these 2 points, which is this, and then you make a it's like a parallelogram or something off of that. So you end up with this box. And here was the sell line right in that channel. So there's a lot of buying and selling going on. Here you got a buy stop now. So low risk entry. Let them stop you out. Now you start buying on limits down here. Now these are the 15-minute orders and stuff like that. You also have a trend line to break now. So if you didn't take your 5 pips and run here, and if you had a buy stop here, they just trapped you and they just took you underwater. So if you're going to trade at the market, I'd say wait for a small candle, pull the trigger. Wait for a small candle, pull the trigger, and just have a tight stop. Now, on a 4-hour chart, waiting 4 hours to pull the trigger, yeah, but a lot wider stops than 5 pips. So here's the wedge. Here's the double bottom. If this fails, it'll be a matter of like, if it really starts to heat up, it's going to start tripping all of the sell stops that the bulls have. Their parachute, they'll start filling. And this trend line will no longer, this will be the trend line that they break here. It's going to spill down. And it ricochets off of, say, here. So if your buy limits start here all the way down, you capture that, and then you sell here when it comes back up. But I don't believe in waiting. I don't believe in waiting. So today I want to put buy stops here. I'm like, you know what? I'm only trying to make it to here or to here, and I get the hell out, right? This is back and forth garbage. In, out, in, out, in, out, up, down. Buy, sell, and of course, without over trading it, because if your entry rule is that you're really honestly waiting for a, you're not waiting for this psycho candle. Maybe you're selling. If you click on the draw, in this 5 minutes, you got to literally have your hand on the trigger. A retest of that wick, you could have just placed a limit up there, so you didn't have to be around for that. So it's another big fallacy that you need to really break out a Fibonacci and a. No, you just have your sell limit here, and you get filled. And maybe your exit's here or it's here. So you made money on that trade, or your exit's here, which is certainly the greedy exit's going to be, oh, it's going to go here and it's going to go, and you know, it doesn't quite make it. It made it to this doji though. So any flat spot on the 5 minutes of doji right out of the gate, it just means flat line indecision. So it's pretty simple. Don't want to overthink this stuff. Here was the zigzag, which would be a wave 4 or wave 2 and something. So a lot of Elliott people would say, well, this is A, and B would be correction C. If you think that's an uptrend, or this is 4. Okay, so you got buy stop here now. And you could probably delete this buy stop because you don't want to get filled here. You want to constrict down, and as the market's getting quieter, you want to get tighter. When the market's heated up, it's time to throw in sell limits all the way up, preferably like a logarithmic style where there's sell limits here, and I guess in a Fibonacci way. Looks like this. Let me see if I could just kind of wing it on the chart here, like a. I mean, it's about the curve. It's about the coefficient. You know, like if it's going up. In a perfect world, the market doesn't have all this zigzag stuff and wicks, so it's like up, 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 like a real bubble. They talk about bubbles. It's going to be like this. There's a crest, and then wham, right? So if this is your curve, the sell limits would look like this. Here and here, and now you want to have more sell limits, right? In a perfect world, there's more up here, so it's got a 3D look to it, or a perspective where this is closer, and as it goes into the distance, if you're going to draw a shadow, and most of the sell market goes spiking up into this thing. So here comes the market. The market's going to be the blue pen. Market comes smashing up in, and it starts filling these orders, and then these are the take profits. So if there's a master stop up here for this whole bank, like where's the stops for these orders? If it's up here in this window, then the take profits, which I said I was going to make blue, but I lied. I was going to make them black. So if you enter on the white and you exit on the scalps are going to be right up here, and then the big take profits are going to be down here. So here's your take profits as you go through this cycle. But these are all the scalps up here. So you're scalping up in here. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's what I'm aiming at, is that you can contour fit or curve fit, which you're not supposed to do either. You're not supposed to curve fit, but you have to curve fit because you have to time the market. They say you can't time the market. Well, you don't have a choice. And you have to price it too. So this is the price and the time is all that matters. Of course, in a momentum world, like if you're going to draw these trend lines, you're basically looking at the deltas forming right now. The jury's coming in. So here's my buy stop. So I got to put in. So I have my buy stop. Might have just got triggered here. Okay, here's my entry. See that baby 5 minute? You can either put buy stops or you can buy at the market. So even if I buy at the market, you see where I'm buying, of course. Look at this, 3/4 spread. It's the top of this candle. So you have to buy at the market. You can't get this price because you're looking at the bid prices on the screen. So you have to be good at losing to make money, because the moment you buy, you're in a loss. You're down. This is the hard fact. That's why they say the market's rigged. As soon as you buy, you're paying commissions and you're down. And if you're not paying commissions, the spread's commission, same thing. Shipping, handling. Like you see that thing on TV. So for me to make money on this trade, the market has to move into where I just bought it to break even. That's the first break even. And then my first exit needs to be here. There's nothing I can do about it. So you could dream about all the pips this thing's going to make once it takes out here, but there's your first exit. If you're in here, your first exit's got to be here, just logically, right? And maybe it's just going to sit here and go sideways, like all of this garbage where it's just up and down, up and down, up and down. You're like, oh my God. But see, there's the triangle, right? The triangle just means that it's getting quiet. It's getting quiet up here. Okay, so I bought at the market just to, if I'm anticipating a break of this, I'm like, we'll just get in before, right? If I put a buy stop in, it's going to be up here. So it's a worse price. I'm buying high, higher than I am. But the best entry is always going to be when you have a limit, but you're going to have to have more than one, because you cannot gauge the exact, and this is a 5 decimal broker, so this thing could come down by a half a pip. You could miss your entrance. If you spatter the lower part of the chart with these 15-minute orders, and if they keep disappearing and you see that you're not getting near the fills, then now if the market is really quiet, I would trade bigger. I trade more of these now if I wait for the market to move, since this is all pre-programmed entry levels. And this is the 20 pip. This big black is the 20 pip. Notice how the market respects that. They say it loves that 20 pip thing, double bottom, right? Trend line to break is here. You know, you could have bought here and dumped, but it's always the reload that I think's annoying. Like, waiting for, you know, you're going to retest, right? There could be 10 retests. This is the double retest right now. If this is going up, that's a retest. If it's going down, that was the second chance to sell. So you missed that. So it can be a little annoying, I think. If you're planning on the markets doing what I guess you think they should do based on whatever bias you have, because you heard there was some news that I was watching this thing about these this thing in Brussels or Belgium, wherever that was, latest place that people decided to launch a bomb. But I watched some people talk about the reaction the British pound had to that, and it looked no more different than the reaction it has every fucking day. Okay. I like that people want to say, well, look at this, how this bombing attack affected the market. Really? I don't, geez, how do you explain this move here? Like, and this is just like British pounds. So, I mean, the market's gone sideways. The British pound's already gone down. And so, it went down. Like they were saying, even they'll even say the stock market's down. Oh, stock market's selling off. It's only down like 30 points. But the news says, oh, bad news, make market go down. Like, huh? What is it? Really? Take a look at the chart next time you hear that story, because it has nothing to do with it. And even if you knew the news in advance, you're not going to know the magnitude of any move. You're not going to, unless you have besides all that, forget about that. If you don't have a keyboard or something to press the button when you see an opportunity, or even at the end of the day, you haven't placed the orders based on the news or whatever it is, your crystal ball, your horoscopes, without execution, there is no money. That's simple as that. So getting good at executing without having to think about it, like, you usually don't drive a car. I hate to go with car analogy, but you usually don't even think about. That's why if you've ever moved anywhere, you can accidentally go back to your old house, because you literally have all this stuff that they still can't get a Google car to do. You have it all like in your head, and you just execute it without, it's second nature to you. So, with trading, when you look at the chart, you should have a what do you do now kind of thing, right? Otherwise, you're just going to look at the charts on the weekend or at the end of the day. Like, if you're going to try to take advantage of a 5-minute chart, you should have a trade plan for that. Otherwise, forget about it. You're going to wait for the end of the hour. So here is the 1 hour again. It's too big a candle for a stop, right? So you're either buying on the clock, which is another reason to buy at the market. So every hour that goes by, if you're bullish, you just keep buying. That's another tactic. Say you down, buy, stop buying because we just went up, right? You're cashing out now. Down, buy low, sell high, down, buy. So you bought here. How'd that work out for you? Pretty good, right? Same thing on the sell side. You could be like every hour sell, or you're getting out of what you're in. So here we are, always again with the triangle, and here it is. If you're buying here at fair value, you're also just start building this next bar range. So here's a triangle too, is you have a smaller, the volatility is dying out, right? So I was going to make all these the same color, but it's easier to see the session cutoff point, and you can see the undercut here. So less volatility. They trapped these breakout traders, and they really crushed these guys. So I only use the breakout strategy on the 5-minute chart, or 15, I guess is the worst entry, a worse, a little bit more risky. The 1 minute may be like trade at the market, because You know, you can see a double bottom here. If you go to 1 minute, of course, the market's kind of quiet now. There's really nothing driving it. Enough. I think New Zealand's banks are closed. So many banks are closed. Not a lot of people trading the thing. And we don't know how long this is going to last. So here is the 1 minute view. A little dicey, a little rangy. But here's a double bottom. There's 3 wicks here, so you could have punched. You could have keep reloading. But if you look at the spread here, you probably wouldn't get filled on this unless the spread tightened up to half a pip. So right now you're in the middle of fair value. You're in the middle of this. And if you are going to zoom out like that, do it on the 1 minute. By all means, this is 8 hours back here. 8 hours of stuff. Let's take that down to the skinny mode. I'm too fat on that. I can't see the zigzags. So here's a triangle in the 1 minute. This should be pretty obvious. This doesn't take long to form. Quick formations here. We retest the apex of that, so your limits are here. We could retest it again, so I want to put buy limits here at the 20-yard line. Because this isn't quite 15 pips there. Let me do a scrunch down. I'm going to go 5 minute. So when you're in the 5 minute, you got to zoom in a little bit here. We only care about the last 16 hours. Now this nice thing about this is you can see how quickly you can make look at this repeated punishment here. Now the spread's got really wide here, so this isn't even accurate because it looks very violent, but it's really about the bid getting away from the ask so far that you get a higher drama move. That's why the wild pairs, the cross rates look so like, I guess, appetizing from a volatility standpoint, but not realizing the spread's your enemy there. Okay, so if I don't get filled on these buy stops, I got one buy stop that didn't fill, so I'll put another buy stop in. Okay, now I'm going to put the buy limits in below 15, 30, and a half hour. So I just put a buy stop in. See a little wick there? They just stopped somebody out. Whoever had a stop right there. So in the 15-minute world. Okay, so 5 minute. If you had sell stops here, you're now short because the bid just went below. And if you have a stop here, you're about to get stopped out. See, when the ask comes up to this, if your stop is literally sitting on that, they just took you out. The spread just went to 1 pip. So that's another thing. You can look at your spread here. It says 0.9, but that's really just under 1 pip. It's definitely one quiet market. So maybe just stop. You could just stop here. Of course, if it just dies here, you have very low risk exposure. You know, if it just dies here, because that's the nice thing about in the market. All the orders evaporate in an hour for the deep orders. So the deep orders, the idea here is that if this is a 1 hour buy bank down here, I just like randomly thrown in there. Doesn't matter because it's based on, and I don't think it's going to happen right now because it's too far away for the volatility we're at, but the concept is that the market comes down into these, rockets down into these buy limits and comes back to here, or even back to here. It's my first exit, and it makes money. Now, if I hand place them, which I did on the other account, everything's hand placed for 8 hours, then you're committing to 8 hours of exposure in advance. Say if you put a buy limit here, just beyond that 20, you have buy limit, buy limit, buy limit, buy limit, right? Take profits, say here, stops here. take profits here, stops here. Whatever have you, buy limit here, takes profits here, stops here. But just a ton of them. Just a pile. Okay, so time to put a buy stop in. I'm not waiting 5 minutes. I'm just going to ride the 5-minute chart. And when it plunges, as it's plunging, I'm putting buy limits in front. So you have to have some limit of, say, 10 to 20, 15 pips. I mean, you have to figure up front what is your entry window. So here, you could have buy limits, say, that last 15 minutes. This would make sense if they were like sitting right here. And say the stop is just here. I wouldn't put the stop down here because this is some kind of market structure thing. Because if this is gonna make this much money, the stop is here. If it's triple your money, you can have the other one there too, but just you always have more than one order anyways, right? So you have one, say one here with a buy limit, stops here, take profits here. You know, on and on. But the fulcrum, the center pivot entry is here. Then you have a cluster, say, off of this. We retest that. Your stops are here, take profits are here. Okay, now we're waiting to get filled on these limits, and if we don't, we just keep putting buy stops here until we get picked up in the breeze, and we get to here. You know, it's a 5-minute chart. The spread's visible, which is not a good thing. So if you're planning out trades to make just a couple pips, and the spread's wide, then you have no chance to even really get in here, right? Because you just keep getting crushed. Now, if they filled you on these stops, they've already stopped you out. So you lost. If you tried to, I know a lot of people want to trade these smaller time frames, but you have to trade them from still the same standpoint of, I mean, you have to run tight stops. Otherwise, this thing will get away from you. It's easy to buy right here at the market. Now, I'm already long, so I'm not going to add to this. If I bought right now at the market, it'd be as if I bought the break out of this. So that's why you would buy at the market right now. You get the better price, or you wait 5 minutes. So I'm going to come back in 5 minutes. Okay, so it hasn't been 5 minutes, but you know, I'm not really good at having a coherent. I'm just rattling through stuff. So if anything registers, then that's great. I'm not really a very good presenter, so I'm not the Stapleton. Unfortunately, I don't have a lush studio, but I just kind of want to take a raw, crude approach to trading because the markets are pretty stupid. So I'm trying to get as dumb as the market. I guess that's my goal. Okay, so plus the patience factor, but I think if you aren't if you're not trading too big for your, in other words, the pain of the size you're in kind of distorts your view of the market, then that would be the only thing I'd say that kind of gets in the way. Because it's really if you're a pattern trader, you'd still have to wait for the patterns to form, and you can anticipate the pattern forming. You can also, you know, over anticipate the pattern forming. Here's the trend line to break for the bears need to force this down now. They're running out of momentum to the downside. So here's so if you didn't get stopped out of this entry here, you're up on the trade, but only to the extent that since this is the yellow line, you're now in profit, so you can get the hell out. Or you let it go and keep your stop there. You don't move it. So this could be the last pullback to this, and so you're up about, I'd say, 1 pip on that. If you got in on the breakout of this doji. Problem is you got to think about going the other way now. So if you want to always be in the market on something, or you're waiting to get stopped out. So better have them stop you out. And here's, I think, all my stops. But these are always typically to take profits from the lower bank too. So if they do smash this down, now I'm going to put the 15-minute guys in. And now I'm going to load these in. So I think they're going to rate it to the downside. And now I'm going to wait till the bottom of the hour to put buy stops in. So I'm going to get filled on these buy limits. I'm going to load 3 pips deep and 10 pips and 20 pips deep below current price right now. Put buy limits for a bounce, and then I may have to take a nap. I'm tired of the range trading's like a full-time job. Of course, the trend trade, this is supposing that you got in and you're just riding it out. You can see that you're going to get a huge move. You can go to sleep, because if the market just blasted up, you're not going to have to look for the. In other words, once the volatility heats up, you're no longer in the mode of. You're either on that train or you're chasing it on the 1 minute or the 5 minute chart. So if you're not on that train, then you're waiting for the market to die down and settle down and get quiet if you're going to get in on a breakout strategy. So now I'll wait another 2 minutes here. Put a buy stop. I'm also going to put buy limits down here. So this is trapped in we've been trapped in a 20 pip range here quite some time. So we're breaking this trend line on the 15. So this would be my entry. That's the 15, that's the 30, that's the 1 hour. I don't think we come down here, but if we do, it's going to be it's going to be nice, easy money. So I can come back here in 1 hour. If we don't fill down here in the half hour, 1 hour, then forget about it. I'm waiting for the bottom of the hour. If I get a big down candle here, I'll put some buy stops in. And maybe you buy at the market if you consider to be every down bar you're buying. So I'll buy one at the market in the next 5 minutes if we can. Like if we don't hit this thing. So perfect scenario for the rest of the day is another wick like this. This is the trade. This is the trade I want right here. Is this wick where it just blows this out, comes back to here, and then whoosh. You lock in. You lock this thing in on limits. And when they try to trap, when they overshoot the runway here, so I'm going to put, I got 1 more minute to hit the buy button. This way you're only buying 4 every hour. If you get 4 15-minute down candles and you keep buying at the market, you can make money like that too. Like this one, down, down, this 15-minute chart, down, down, buy, 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 buy. You're only buying the heavy downs. So you got them right here. I'm going to buy at the market. I'm waiting for the 5-minute chart. Okay, so I'll buy one here, and then I'll wait 5 more minutes, and I'll buy another one. Plus, you're right, you've fallen in this hole here. So I come back in 5 minutes and hit the, if we're down, I'll hit the buy button. If we're up, I'll just let it go. I'll just walk away, let the buy that I have, let that play out. 30 seconds here, we're going to update this 5-minute chart. So I'm not going to, I would buy hit the market if this is a baby candle here in about 15 seconds. And that's it. And then I just walk away. If this closes up, I won't buy because I'm already long. So I'm not going to add to it. But I'll put some 15-minute buy limits. So right there. So that's a doji. So if I buy that at the market, and then what I do is put in buy limits, and I'll come back and probably, I've got to go out and start drinking. I'll be back in probably about, hell, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. Depends what happens. Here's the 5-minute. Here's the candles. Here's the zoomed out. Another thing that's a big deal in these markets is perspective. And just by sheer sake of me putting in the same time frame here, and one of these can have a zoomed out view, just to show you the distortion that can happen just by sheerly zooming out. And here I could zoom in. Same, probably more logical to zoom out on the left side. So this is a larger time frame. Here's what's actually happening blow by blow. All right. So here is about as close as you're going to get to paradise as far as what's going on right now. What do I do? We've had this sell-off. Do I buy? If you chase this down right now, you want it to go lower for you to make money. This is a zoomed out view, which is nothing more than looking at a high-res version of a larger time frame. So you can see the trend line here. But what about right now? Next 5-10 minutes, that's all I care about. So here's the big picture. Doesn't take much to lose perspective. You could also go to the 15 and see that just how ridiculous. This is the 5-minute, and look at the, can't believe it's the same market, right? Okay, so I'll go outside, come back, see where we're at. Right now we're got to hold this, still forming the triangle. Very quiet now. Buy stops would be on the top of this. This would be a buy or sell at the market, or sell stops below. Anytime you see a doji. And just doesn't matter. I'm only trying to make, if I could be in the market for 4 hours and make a bunch of money, that works for me. So I'll come back here about maybe, I don't know, top of the hour, right? Okay, so I guess it's been a while since I got in on this move. I don't even know. Guess it was back here I was buying, and apparently I didn't get stopped out. So I'm going to dump everything now. Take all the winners off the table and reload. This is constant, up and down, still forming the 15 minutes, but you're buying at the 20 there. More buy limits, so let's just keep on. It's a very quiet market. Keep on keeping on. Very dead. So I wasn't here to see it, but you would have had to, I think I bought this, and then we went down lower. These are kind of wicky. But here was an entry. Here was a wonderful hammer. I would have bought that at the market. I would have bought that at the market. So if you zoom out. So I just caught in a trap. Just more boring stuff. Very boring today. A lot of people have gone away. So. Anyways, that's how you make money. I don't know what to say. Here's the 1 hour chart. Here's how you build the some people want to look at the... I'm just looking at closing prices, so I'm looking at this triangle. Just to process a break. The 1 hour we broke the broke that trend line, finding support there. Also broke this. Well, no, they're holding this one, so looks like the jury says up. So buy stops like crazy here. Buy at the market, and just walk away. Nothing you do is going to change that trade. I'm still looking for that rally. So here was the big rally yesterday, right up into this bottom on the 1 hour. Very obvious bottom. They trap them, they rape them. Now we're right at the apex of the triangle, and it's just up and down, small moves. Okay, waiting for next week. Wait for the wheels to come off this thing. It's been trapped in a these are 20 pip each of these. This is the big round. There's the bounce off the big round. I never made it down here. And it's just been like how to make 8 pips, really. Very quiet. Very zen trading today. That's how it is. Euro dollar. Boring. That's what the girls say when I start talking about trading. Boring. Can we go shopping now?